Welcome to the third installment on the existence of God, a positivist approach. My first two videos were called boring by many different people, so I have attempted to make this video less boring. In the first two parts of this video series, we talked about the logical contradictions the believer in God has. These included, amongst others, the problem of evil. In a video response, Evangelical 1 attempted to use the free will theodicy along with the original sin to counter the problem of evil, so let's hear what Evangelical 1 has to say.
And part of what the Christian view says is that we weren't in fellowship with God until we sin by eating the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So sin and death and suffering, it seems to be implied in this story of the Garden of Eden and the fall of man, that suffering arose as a result of the free action of man.
Okay, so if it hadn't been for Adam and Eve sinning in the Garden of Eden, the poor people of Haiti would not have had the terrible earthquake. That's basically what Evangelical 1 argues. The consequence of this argument is that the people of Haiti are being either punished or at least left unprotected because of the actions of their forefathers. Note that according to Christian theology, all people sin all the time, even the people in Haiti. So that's why they are allowed to suffer, because they are no longer in direct fellowship with God, because of the original sin, and thusly also because of free will. So it all comes back to the original sin, where Adam and Eve used their free will to sin, even though they weren't compelled to sin the same way the modern man is. They made a direct choice to sin against God. It was no accident, but it was completely deliberate, and this sin resulted in the event known as the fall of man. This theodicy attempts to explain that God allows children in Haiti to be crushed by falling buildings because the children have sinned and because they will sin in the future, and the reason they will do so is the original sin. So, does this solve the contradiction? No. Let me explain why. We humans have morals. These morals are, according to theists, dictated from God, which is an argument theists will often use against atheists. Consequently, God must exhibit the same morals, but in a perfect way. Now let's consider a modern situation. A parent gets convicted of a bad crime, and the child is punished as well. We have seen this in China, where the children of executed prisoners are shunned by the communist community. Right there, I know that every sane person who watches this video feels outraged. You don't punish the kid just because the parents fucked up. That's outright immoral. And yet, those same people will gladly say that God has done that exact same thing to the children who are now starving or already dead in Haiti. This is a contradiction, and the theodicy that we had it coming because some of our forefathers fucked up big time long ago does not even begin to solve this problem. I dare say that not only doesn't it solve the problem, but it adds insult to injury. All Christians who justify that God let the earthquake in Haiti happen are no better than Pat Robertson.
Something happened a long time ago in Haiti, and people might not want to talk about it. They were under the heel of the French, Napoleon III and whatever. And they got together and swore a pact to the devil. They said, "We will serve you if you'll get us free from the French."
The problem of evil cannot be solved. A world with pain and suffering coexisting with an all-powerful, all-knowing and all-good deity is a contradiction in terms. But of course, if the God we're talking about is the God of the Old Testament, well, then I suppose that allowing thousands and thousands of children to die is the sort of thing you'd expect. But I'll get back to Old Testament genocide in a different video. What about free will then? Is that even possible? Is it logically consistent to have an omniscient being and free will? No, it is not. It is entirely inconsistent. It leads to contradictions. Let me explain. Suppose you had a bowl of fruit in front of you, and you were very hungry. Suppose that in the bowl there were apples and oranges, and suppose you didn't have a preference between apples and oranges. You liked them both equally. You then have your free will to choose which fruit you eat first, an apple or an orange. Then imagine an omniscient being, a being that knows everything it's possible to know. That being would know which fruit you would eat first. Is it then possible for you to choose the other fruit? If it is, then the being was wrong and thusly not omniscient. If it is not possible, then the being is possible, but your free will is impossible. This is a contradiction. Now you may remember something I said in part 1, that the being, God, could choose not to know something. Indeed, it would be capable to do so, because the being is also allegedly omnipotent. So the being could choose not to care which fruit you eat first. Bingo, problem solved. Not so fast. Consider the implications of this proposal. The being, which is God, would then have to decide what to know and what not to know. That would mean that whatever plan God has, the choices, however seemingly insignificant, can potentially cause God's plan not to come together. So having accepted that free will exists, because God decides not to know what choices you make, this leads directly to God having chosen not to be able to give any sort of prophecies about the future. But perhaps this is the explanation for the many failed theist prophecies. So bottom line is this: either you have free will and a God who have chosen not to know what you're going to do and what's going to happen, or you have a God who does know what's going to happen, but then you don't have free will. Am I wrong in anything I have said? Can the problem of evil be explained? Can free will and an omniscient being who cares about the future coexist? If you think that you can logically solve these problems, or you think that I have errors or omissions in my videos, please send me a personal message, or better yet, a video response. If you like this video, please subscribe for more videos. In the next installment of this series, The Existence of God, A Positivist Approach, we'll be talking about God and unintelligent design. This was Atheist John. Peace out.